Last night was embarrassing. Last night, the Yankees conducted themselves in a manner that embarrassed their fan base. The way they played that game, the defense, the throwing the balls around, the embarrassment of losing that 3-game series. They are now 4 games back in the American League East. They have now lost the tiebreaker as well, so it's the same as 5 because they have to full out beat them. They can't tie them. They are 4 games and, for all intents and purposes, 5 games back in a division that they led by 7 games 6 weeks ago. And what we saw from the New York Yankees last night, and it goes around, right? Max Fried, not good enough. Start the game good. I don't know. Under normal circumstances, I'd give him a little bit of a break. Hasn't pitched in a while. Had the blister issue. It looked like his finger was bleeding, but apparently that's not a big deal. It looked like he was strictly throwing fastballs. He threw a higher percentage, almost 80% fastballs in the start, which is atypical of him. We hardly saw the curveball. I don't know if he's afraid to throw anything that might jeopardize the blister. I don't know. But he wasn't good enough. The defense was atrocious, and yes, it continues to be so. And yes, the manager said dumb things after, and I normally don't care, and even this I don't care. It's about playing better. But yes, they are a bad defensive team, and that's the problem. The problem is the manager won't say it. I know that bothers you, and hell, it bothers me, but that's not the problem. As he says, oh, it's just the series in Toronto. No, it's not. It's been for about 2 months. To be fair, and you know I like to be fair, I'm not in the mood this morning necessarily, but the first 60 to 70 games, we didn't see this much crap. We didn't see the terrible defense. We didn't see the terrible base running that has hampered this team for a while and clearly dating back to the World Series. It was better. Why? Because the pivot. And let's just get into it for a second, because the New York Yankees lost out on Juan Soto. And from that moment, they talked about how this team was going to be about run prevention. Now, they lost Garrett Cole. They've lost Luis Thiel. They've lost Clark Schmidt. They've lost Cruz. They've lost Leiter. To start the year, their excellent closer, who's been so now for a while, but Devin Williams blew game after game, 4-game lead after 4-game lead. So if you're so inclined on this morning where you want to find some positivity, there's been some issues that are beyond their control when it comes to run prevention. But we knew this team wasn't going to be an offensive juggernaut. At least we thought it was going to be a pivot to a more well-rounded team. Because despite going to the World Series, it was clear to everyone, including the Yankees, that they needed to be far better defensively. That was a major weakness of the club last year. And despite having Juan Soto and an offense and a team that went through the American League playoffs and got to the World Series, defensively they weren't good enough. And so after losing Juan Soto, they were going to pivot. And they brought in a Gold Glove caliber outfielder and first baseman in Cody Bellinger. They brought in Paul Goldschmidt, an excellent first baseman. They pivoted to a team that we were told went out and spent a ton of money for their ace, Max Fried, or a second ace to go with Garrett Cole. And we were told that this was going to be about run prevention, and hopefully the offense would be enough. We were going to see some kids. We were going to see Jason Dominguez. We were going to see some kids make their way. We were going to see this offense hopefully be a little bit deeper, put the ball in play a little bit more, be a different offense, but it was going to be about run prevention. And we watch this team right now, and they are, and you want to tell me it's Boone's fault? You want to go back to the histories over the last handful of years? Normally I'd fight you. I'm not in the mood. Whatever the case may be, you look at this roster and this game in particular, and I heard Keith mention it, so I went back and listened to even Susan Waldman in the postgame for the broadcast right here on WFAN. And I completely agree with her sentiment that this team that was put on the field last night is not a good defensive team. And there are issues with this club and how the roster is and who they play behind their ace in the most important game of the year. And this is why Like, I'm not even that big on trading for Suarez because he's not a good defensive third baseman. And believe it or not, amazingly enough, the offense has been good. Is it spotty from time to time? Are there games where pitchers shut them down? Of course, it's baseball. But for the most part, they still lead the American League in scored runs. They hit a ton of home runs. They don't need another third baseman to come in here, play substandard defense, and hit 35 home runs. That's not what they need. As great as he would be, it's not what they need. And I'm watching this team, and they didn't go into the season with a third baseman, and we were told that, Goldschmidt's going to be a better first baseman. Obviously what you can get, Grisham's your fourth outfielder before he had an 850 OPS. But, he's good defensively. Bellinger's good defensively. Judge is going to be moved to right, so that's going to make them better defensively. Jazz is going back to second base. That's going to make them better defensively. I had to jettison, Gleyber Torres because he's not good defensively. Jazz is going to be at second. Judge back in right. Bellinger a Gold Glover in center. We're gonna play Dominguez in left. He'll get the hang of it. We're going to go in, at least Oswaldo Cabrera will be there at third base. We've got a Gold Glove caliber shortstop. I can't even say it because it makes me so mad to say it. We got a Gold Glove caliber shortstop in Anthony Volpe. And we're going to be far better defensively. And instead, no matter what the manager says, they have real issues defensively with personnel. And for a month, they played Jazz out of position with DJ LeMahieu at second base and Jazz at third, and that made them even worse. And so when you talk about the pivot and what it was supposed to bring, it's brought good offense. It's brought a team far better offensively. Right? Paul Goldschmidt was hitting 360 for the first start of the season. Judge is still the MVP in Judge and hit a big home run in this game. And God knows why they don't walk him every single at bat. If you're going to walk him 90% of the time, why not just walk him 100% of the time? Because you're going to kick yourself when he hits a 2-run home run. But thankfully for the Blue Jays, the Yankees don't know how to play baseball, and they were able to rally and come back and win this game with little base hits and poor mistakes from the New York Yankees. But my question is, and we've talked about this a lot, and it goes back to what I heard from Susan, and I was thinking about it today as you're going through a lineup. We hear a lot of complaints about the lineup. Oh, how is this guy not playing? The Yankees don't believe in Hot. He had 3 hits yesterday. How is he not playing today? As the Yankees have been juggling this roster, and for the most part, all the juggling and all the complaints and all the nonsense, the offense has still been pretty damn good. But right now, you watch this team, the number one issue that is costing them games is the sloppiness of this defense. And even from guys that, all those things I mentioned, right? Jazz is better at second base. Volpe has completely deteriorated, no matter what they tell you, to one of the worst shortstops in the sport. And you watch Jason Dominguez out there, he is brutal in left field. Brutal. I know we were worried about him not catching fly balls. All right, he's managed to do that. But watch him run. Watch him go after a ball in the corner. As fast as he is, he's one of the more fast players that the Yankees have had in forever. He's got blinding speed. He crawls to balls in the corner because he's afraid of botching and he's afraid of getting it past him. Watch him go to the gap in the ball. He is so afraid. He's afraid to come in on baseballs. He's afraid to run into the gap. He is the most timid outfielder that I have ever seen. He is scared of his own shadow out there. And don't tell me he'd be better in center because it's just running to the gap. All right, you want to argue with him in the corner? Fine. Just running a ball to the gap? That goes in center field. You run to your right, you run to your left. It's the same thing. He's afraid of making plays. Afraid of a ball getting past him. When Bellinger's out in left, we saw the shoestring catch against the Mets, and we saw one again in this series. Dominguez wouldn't even know how to begin to catch those balls. Dominguez has to play every day. Dominguez has to play every day. Dominguez has to be the leadoff hitter every single day. Does he? Because right now, I feel like I'm willing to sacrifice offense to play the best defensive team. And especially with Max Fried in the biggest games against teams like Toronto who put the ball in play, it's time to just play Goldschmidt every day. It's time to just play Bellinger, Grisham, and Judge every day. It's time to just figure out our best defensive group because the offense isn't killing them. The pitching at times has killed them, but the defense, as they are kicking the ball around, is costing them. And it's not just for games against Max Fried. At this moment right now, I don't know if you can continue to play Dominguez in left. And I'm not trying to pick on the kid, but watch him play. He turns an out into a double in the first game of this series, and he is afraid to go make plays. And I don't know if it's going to take more seasoning. I don't know if he has to go back to the minors to learn how to play left field. But this team right now can't justify doing anything else with their lineup but Bellinger, Grisham, Judge. Goldschmidt at first base. I love Ben Rice. He's hitting the ball hard all over the place. 800 OPS. He was terrible in this game. He boots an easy ground ball instead of getting in front of it, knowing that even if you don't make the play, you have the pitcher covering first, and he tries to backhand it and scoop it. Like he would a ball in the dirt and sends it flying. He's at first base. There are plays. Thankfully, it was close, and Jazz made a great play. He doesn't extend out to make a play as a first baseman. And we could scream about coaching and I've seen them work with him. I'm pretty sure they told him foot on the bag, front foot out, extend the glove. Maybe they didn't. Maybe everything's on the coaching staff. Maybe. I'm okay with that today. But this team was supposed to be a team that was based on run prevention. A team that was based on pivoting from the Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Bash brothers into maybe a little bit of a deeper lineup that does a little bit of different things, but we are going to be tough to score against. And instead, they give runs to the opponent like it's their job. Like it's their job. And I'll tell you this about Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone has a problem. Totally agree. It's not the one you're thinking of, though. I've been thinking about this for the last 2 hours. I've been thinking about this. I was watching the game. I went back and watched the highlights again and listening to the post game. First off, we all know Aaron Boone is full of crap. Let's just start there. We all know this team has played far worse defensively over the last 2 months, and not just in these two series. He's going to tell you they're a good defensive club. He thinks that's what his team needs to hear. And you know what? Maybe it's a problem. Maybe it is a problem. Maybe it goes beyond just, gaslighting you or holding people accountable, gaslighting, accountability, all the words we like to throw out in today's, new era of sports. But I'll tell you this, watching the club, all the stuff I hear about Boone, that there's no accountability, that it's a romper room, he's their best friend, nobody's afraid of him, milk and cookies in there. Watch this club. Watch this game. In the biggest game of the season, watch this team turn a fly ball missed by Bellinger. And I didn't go through every single one. We saw the game. We knew all the mistakes. We can go through them if you want to call me at 888-808-1019. Obviously the play from Fried throwing home. He should have never thrown the ball home. He should have tried to spin and go to first and get the out. He was at no angle to make a play at home. The wild pitches that lead up to that. J.C. Escara is not a good defensive catcher. And if they can move him and get anything for him and bring in, anyone who's really good defensively, that's what they should do, because it's time to focus on it. But watching all the different errors that took place, some of them random, some of them bad luck, some of them with great defenders. Max Fried is one of the better defensive pitchers in the sport. We've seen it as Yankee fans. You've seen it. He's only been here for a half a year, a little more than that now, but you've seen it. Very good defender. Makes a boneheaded play. I watch a ball get lost in the sky by arguably the best all-around defender on the entire team in Cody Bellinger, and then I watch it spitball. And I watch a snowball become an avalanche, because I'm telling you right now, I don't think the problem is that Aaron Boone cultivates an atmosphere of nobody gives a damn. I don't think it's that Aaron Boone cultivates an attitude of it's okay because the manager said it's okay. I think right now around the New York Yankees, there is an attitude of they are as tight as a drum. I think it's the opposite. I think for all the talk and all the not holding people accountable and all of the crap that we throw at them, and it's loosey-goosey and so they don't care, I think it's the opposite. This team, one mistake happens and they shrink. They are as tight as a drum. Watch the left fielder. Watch Jason Dominguez. He's afraid to attack the baseball. He's afraid. He is so timid. That ball that he turned into a double, he's afraid it's going to get by him. He's afraid he's going to make a mistake. They're afraid they can't overcome a mistake, so they have to make the big-time play. Jazz thinks he has to go out and get that extra out because they have to. Because of all the nonsense that's been surrounding the team and surrounding the fan base, they are as tight as a drum. They hear everything. They know everything. They know how we feel. They hear what it's like in New York. They hear everything, and they are tight as a drum. It's not that nobody's accountable. It's not that he's not calling guys out. And he said it multiple times. He said it in the interview although it felt a little bit confrontational. He said it in the interview with John Boy Media. He said it in post games forever now. The last thing I want is for us to be tight. The last thing I want is for us to feel like we can't make mistakes. That's exactly how the Yankees operate. That's exactly the team I watched last night is afraid of what comes next after one mistake. One mistake becomes two, becomes three, becomes four, becomes an entire game of embarrassing themselves. I'm not worried about him calling out players. I'm worried about him creating an atmosphere where this team doesn't shrivel. And that's what they've done. And that is on Aaron Boone. That's what great managers do. We talk about, he's too much of a buddy, he's too much of this, he's too much of that. Watch this team play. The minute something goes wrong, we have an entire team of Carlos Rodons. Carlos Rodon, over the last couple of years, something would go wrong. Before you know it, 6 things went wrong, and it was 7-1. Watching this team now, you could feel it feed off of it. You can feel it sitting on your couch. You can feel it. You can feel how one era will lead to the next, to the next, to the next. They feel it too. The New York Yankees have a problem on their hands. They have a roster with a bunch of players who aren't good enough to justify playing them at the moment because I don't care about offense. The offense has been good. It's going to get to that point, and I ask you, is it at the point where the New York Yankees should play their best defensive team? And that means no Jason Dominguez. That means no Ben Rice. I'm at the point where maybe that's what they need to do. Because the offense is still fine. It's not great. They didn't get him a lot of hits today. I mean, they didn't go out and pound Chris Bassett. He outpitched Max Fried. That's one of the first problems right there. Max Fried has got a 5+, almost 6, I think it is a 6 ERA over his last 3 or 4 starts. He's got to be way better. I know he was dealing with a blister. I don't care. I thought Carlos Rodon battled, but he wasn't dominant in this series. In the game he started. And Max Fried, although, yes, he was let down by the players behind him, absolutely not good enough. He was throwing nothing but fastballs. He became extremely predictable. He walked a couple of guys in key situations. He was hit hard in this game. Not good enough. The second time around, he did not have a good game from the second time through the lineup on. Just not good enough. But the team defensively, off of the pivot, off of they were going to build a better defensive team, you can say, and I know many of you do, well, the constant is Boone. The players change, the constant is Boone. And maybe that's fair. And maybe it's the organization. And clearly the kids they bring up, I think that's the most fair thing. Ben Rice, great hitter, been really good. I know his batting average is down for all you batting average, lovers. But his OPS is up. He smashes the ball. He just hit arguably the biggest home run the other night. He's not good defensively. Jason Dominguez coming into his own, even a little bit better right-handed. I know he was 0 for his last 18, but he hits the home run in this game. We've seen him kind of explode. His speed, his hustle, his this, his that. He's atrocious defensively. The players who come through this organization, and I think this is fair, are not good defensively. They're not great on the base paths. That's a problem organizationally. And if you think it's the manager's job to hold their hands through it while they're the New York Yankees chasing the World Series, okay, these guys got to come up and be ready to play. And as I watch this team right now, and I think to myself at the trade deadline, you're in desperate need of bullpen help. God knows that. You got Efros coming in. You got Weaver, Williams, and Hill. That is it. Outside of that, it's garbage. Outside of that, it's not another arm you can trust. Go help me there. Forget about the offense. I don't care if the third baseman he's got to be better than Peraza. You got to go out in third baseman, but do I really need a 35 home run hitting, crappy defensive third baseman right now with this team? To make the left side of the infield the worst in the sport? No thanks. No thanks. The offense has been good. Hopefully the pitching can get on a run, see what Cam Schlittler is. You're waiting on the return of Luis Heel. Maybe the starting pitching, you add something at the trade deadline, which they're in desperate need of adding something, but before the 31st, if possible, which I don't know if it is. Jack Curry doesn't think it's going to happen anytime soon. They're about to take on the Phillies, and then the Tampa Bay Rays, who just, I believe, lost to the White Sox last night as I was watching the game, and gave up 11 runs to the lousy White Sox, but they're in the American League. And you know what that means? The Yankees freaking suck against them. So this is a huge homestand, and I'm getting to the point of you got to play your best players. And right now, when I mean best player, I mean best defensive player, because I can't watch this crap anymore. I just, you can't watch it. You can't watch them kick the ball around. And it would be one thing, it's one thing if it's done by their best defensive team. Let's be honest, they didn't put their best defensive team out there in the biggest game of the season. They went with J.C. Escara because he's got to play. Hey, you only got to be fair. You don't have to be fair. You don't have to be fair in the biggest game of the year. You don't. With a day off tomorrow, you don't. And I love Ben Rice, but he's terrible at first. I can't live with it. Not with the defensive infield, not with the noodle arms at third and short. Can't deal with it. I love Jason Dominguez. I still have faith that Jason Dominguez can be a really good player in this league. He's atrocious in left. I got to play my best outfield. That's where the Yankees are right now. 4 games back, really 5. The Toronto Blue Jays have owned them, kicked the crap out of them, have taken a stranglehold on this division. The Yankees are 2 games up in the wild card. They've got another week plus before they can get to the trade deadline. They have no bullpen. Their rotation is in flux, to put it mildly, and their defense is atrocious. And their manager's out there telling us everything is fine. Not where you want to be.